The road to greatness is alight with the wailing of broken soldiers and the whispered weeping of their women. Yet the men who are the cause of this suffering must pay them no heed. The Chola dynasty is like the elephant of the forest, a beast that can thrive only by wrecking the weeds beneath it as it marches through the undergrowth. Like the elephant, we must seize whatever opportunity we find to grow stronger, even when it means crushing those who stand in our way. My father never tires of telling me this story, but I doubt that I will pass it on to my son when the time comes to teach him the ways of emperors. Our family has ruled parts of Tamil country for over 1,000 years. Other dynasties rose and fell in the time that it took our ancestors to blink, yet greatness continued to elude us. That all changed when my father came to power. As a newly crowned ruler, he took the name Raja, the King of Kings, a name that turned out to be prophetic. He has conquered many of our neighbors and turned the small Chola kingdom into a powerful empire, an empire which I am set to inherit. It is my destiny to be as great a ruler as him, perhaps an even greater one. Despite his many accomplishments, there is a shadow in his gaze. He has achieved the greatness that he sought, but in doing so, he has become corrupted by darkness. He tries to instill this darkness in me, with these fables of greatness through domination. But I do not believe that greatness and corruption are inseparable. History is evidence enough. After carving out his vast empire, Ashoka, greatest of all rulers, turned to a life of service to his people. He built hospitals for the sick and dug wells for the thirsty. Rich and poor alike throve during his reign. Is that not true greatness? To not just rule, but to rule justly? Father just shakes his head whenever I tell him this, or laughs at me if he is in a good mood. Yet he has given me a chance to prove him wrong. We are at war with our old rivals, the Chalukyan dynasty, and he has tasked me with invading their lands. I will wage a just war. When I return to Tanjavur, Raja will know what his son is capable of. We have reached Chalukyan lands. I would say that the grass is greener on this side of the river, if I could see it.
The knight is our ally, Your Highness. The main Chalukyan army is sleeping nearby, and if we tread lightly, they will never know that we were here. The Chalukyas have constructed a forward camp near the river. If we seize it, we could put them on the defensive and delay their attacks.
Well done, men. When morning comes, we shall use this fort to launch our attacks on the Chalukyan army.
These peasants supply the Chalukyan soldiers with food. If we clear out the garrisons, we could deprive our enemy of supplies.
சரி முன்னேறு.
This path appears to lead to the enemy's elephant enclosure. A single rider could sneak up unnoticed and light a fire, causing a panic among the animals.
சரி ஐயா அப்படியே இந்த கணமே போகிறேன். சரி ஐயா இந்த கணமே போகிறேன். சரி ஐயா முன்னேறு. அப்படியே பாய்ந்து தாக்கு. சரி ஐயா அப்படியே இந்த கணமே போகிறேன். அப்படியே.
The elephants are running amok.
இந்த கணமே.
Raise the alarm.
Beaten by their own animals of war. Arayan, remind me to place a proper guard on our elephant enclosure when we get back to camp.
அப்படியே. சரி இந்த கணமே போகிறேன். சரி ஐயா இந்த கணமே போகிறேன்.
We have done all that we can to undermine the Chalukyas.
சரி ஐயா.
Now, let us destroy them in battle.
அப்படியே.
சரி
செய்கிறேன். சரி அப்படியே. கட்டுவேன். சரி நான் தயார். கட்டுவேன்.
Our allies in Vengi will attack from the east at your command, Yuvaraja. But their forces are not as strong as ours.
சரி
We should coordinate our attacks with them, lest the Chalukyas divide our armies and conquer them piece by piece.
கட்டளை
கட்டுவேன்.
Little remains of our army. But if you were to rebuild our military buildings, we would be willing to aid you in the fight against the Chalukyas.
The capital of Manyaketa is the jewel of the Chalukyan dynasty, and treasures stolen from Chola lands fill their universities. We should plunder them and humiliate the Chalukyas.
சரி, இந்த கணமே போகிறேன்.
காட்டில் பொறுக்குவேன்.
We give you what little we can spare.
So,
அப்படியே செய்கிறேன்.
my own peasants have decided to supply the enemy. Very well. I shall repay their loyalty in kind.
கட்டுவேன்.
இந்த கணமே போகிறேன். இந்த கணமே போகிறேன். அப்படியே. ஆயுதத்தை எடு. கணமே போகிறேன். முன்னேறு. உங்கள் சித்தம். தாக்கு. சரி. ஆயுதத்தை எடு. என்ன கட்டளை? முன்னேறு.
This is not over, young Chula. You can batter my armies and pillage my cities, but you will never crush the Chalukya dynasty.
Your Highness, I have received terrible news. Your father, Raja, has passed away.
What? This cannot be. I must return to Tanjavur at once. I leave the army in your hands, General.
To defile the jewel of my empire in this manner. Have you no honor?
Victory is ours! Take whatever plunder you can find, men, and let us return home. We have an emperor to mourn, and a new one to celebrate.
Days and nights merged into a restless blur as I rode back to Tanjavur. My mind was empty, as if every thought and emotion had hidden in corners beyond my reach. It was not until I came into the palace and saw my father's body that I woke to find that the nightmare was real. The King of Kings was dead. Seeing my father's cold, grey face, knowing that he would never tell another tale about the elephants of the forests, I wept for the first time since I was a boy. He had died of old age, a quick, painless death, his wives told me, as if the abruptness with which he had left the world was any consolation for his departure. As soon as the tomb guarding his ashes had been sealed, the crown was thrust upon my head. I had longed for this day, but grief clouded whatever joy the occasion should have brought. For the common soldier, dying is small fry. Suffer as they might, they know that it is their destiny to die for their betters. But when you are among the men whose fate it is to shape the world, when every potential future that you could have created flickers out of existence as you gasp your final, miserable breath. Dying is too much. It will be long before this pain subsides. Yet I must rule in spite of it. As the great tiger falls, the scavengers come out to feast on its corpse. The Empire is in turmoil after my father's death. To the west, the Sera and Pandya dynasties are rattling their sabers. In the north, the Chalukyas talk of vengeance, even as they lick their wounds from the last war. Yet, my greatest worry is the island of Sri Lanka. My father invaded the island decades ago, forcing its king Mahinda to escape into the untamed south. Now, Mahinda has returned to reclaim his old domains. All but a single town have fallen to his rebellion. If we lose Sri Lanka, it will embolden dissenters in every part of the empire to rise up against me. That cannot be allowed to happen. I must finish what my father began. King Mahinda is assaulting our only remaining settlement on the island. Hurry to shore, men, before the Sri Lankan ships catch up to us.
You arrived in the nick of time, Your Highness. A number of Sri Lankan patrols have been spotted heading this way. We must hold the walls while our navy defends the harbor.
The Cholas are hanging on for dear life. Drive them into the sea!
Hold fast, men. Let them crash into your swords and drop broken and bleeding in the dirt.
உங்கள் சித்தம் சரி சரி ஐயா பாய்ந்து தாக்கு உங்கள் சித்தம் சரி இந்த கணமே போகிறேன் சரி ஐயா
It appears that my army was like a forest of rotten trees, breaking at the first strike. But fear not, Rajendra. I will be back for you.
We must strike out quickly. If we allow the Sri Lankans to regroup, we will surely lose the entire island.
என்ன கட்டளை இந்த கணமே போகிறேன் அப்படியே ஆயுதத்தை எடு
Praise the gods. I thought we would have to hide in this god-forsaken forest until the end of our days.
அப்படியே பாய்ந்து தாக்கு என்ன கட்டளை ஐயா உங்கள் சித்தம் சரி ஐயா
This was once the Sri Lankan capital of Anuradhapura. My father told me stories of this jewel in the jungle, which he reduced to rubble during his invasion. Perhaps we can find something useful among the ruins.
Praise the gods. I thought we would have to hide in this god-forsaken forest until the end of our days.
These locals have done us no harm, and they will provide us with meager tribute. But I fear that if we do not plunder them, then our enemies will.
Reinforcements have arrived from the mainland.
முன்னேறு பாய்ந்து தாக்கு அப்படியே இந்த கணமே போகிறேன் ஆயுதத்தை எடு பாய்ந்து தாக்கு இந்த கணமே போகிறேன் இந்த கணமே போகிறேன் முன்னேறு சரி என்ன கட்டளை ஆயுதத்தை எடு சரி ஐயா உங்கள் சித்தம் சரி ஐயா
On ships of ghastly splendor, you Cholas come and loot what my people have built over centuries to make it seem like the future is yours. We all like that feeling. It is a comforting lie. But death will come to you and your house, Rajendra, as it comes to us all.
Another city burns in the fiery furnace of war. Let its ashes inspire loyalty to the Cholas for generations to come.
சரி ஐயா அப்படியே இந்த கணமே போகிறேன் தாக்கு முன்னேறு ஆயுதத்தை எடு பாய்ந்து தாக்கு அப்படியே பாய்ந்து தாக்கு ஆயுதத்தை எடு முன்னேறு இந்த
The
கணமே
wise general knows when to admit defeat. If you spare our city, we will aid you in the fight against King Mahinda.
இந்த கணமே போகிறேன்.
My father burnt your old capital to the ground, yet it inspired nothing but revolt.
என்ன கட்டளை?
I shall spare this city
நான் தயார். அப்படியே
and
நான்
hope that
தயார்.
my actions will yield greater loyalty. The northern half of the island is ours.
கட்டுவேன்.
But where is King Mahinda?
The king is in another castle, Your Highness. Our scouts say that he has fled south to the Ruhuna region.
So, he plans to hide in the jungle until I leave, just like he did after my father's invasion.
சரி, நான்
No.
தயார்.
This will not do. Sri Lanka will not be ours until every part of it swears fealty to me. We march on Ruhuna.
என்ன கட்டளை? சரி.
Your Highness,
ஏ
our scouts say that King Mahinda has moved the crown jewels of Sri Lanka to a mountain fortress not far from here. If we were to capture them, it would crush the enemy's morale.
கட்டுவேன்.
சரி.
You mainlanders have tried to control our island ever since the days of Rama and his army of monkeys.
கட்டுவேன்.
Rama succeeded only because he was a god.
கட்டுவேன்.
And you, young Chola,
கட்டுவேன்.
are no
கட்டுவேன்.
Rama.
கட்டுவேன்.
உங்கள் சித்தம் இந்த கணமே போகிறேன். ஆயுதத்தை எடு. என்ன கட்டளை? அப்படியே பாய்ந்து தாக்கு. உங்கள் சித்தம் கணமே போகிறேன். இந்த கணமே போகிறேன். அப்படியே சரி. உங்கள் சித்தம் பாய்ந்து தாக்கு. இந்த கணமே போகிறேன். உங்கள் சித்தம் என்ன கட்டளை? உங்கள் சித்தம் சரி. பாய்ந்து தாக்கு. உங்கள் சித்தம் சரி. என்ன கட்டளை? சரி.
We have captured the Sri Lankan crown jewels. Who will want to fight for Mahinda now, when he cannot even present himself as a king?
சரி ஐயா. கணமே போகிறேன். சரி ஐயா. அப்படியே என்ன உங்கள் சித்தம்? முன்னேறு. என்ன கட்டளை? கணமே போகிறேன். தாக்கு. சரி. உங்கள் சித்தம் என்ன கட்டளை? முன்னேறு. என்ன கட்டளை? கணமே பாய்ந்து தாக்கு. உங்கள் சித்தம் என்ன கட்டளை?
It is over, Mahinda. You will live out your days as a prisoner in Tanjavur. And when you perish, so will the last hope of Sri Lankan independence. Order has been restored, but at a high price. My army slaughtered thousands of rebels and pillaged their cities. The people here have suffered. But the fires of Sri Lanka will ensure that the rebellion does not spread, causing suffering on an even greater scale. I tell myself this. Yet, in my heart, I feel tainted. My hands are red with blood of these innocent people. This is not how I imagined the beginning of my reign. I find myself retracing my father's steps, walking where he walked, seeing what he saw. Did he once suffer the same qualms that I do? It is a strange image. The iron-fisted Raja, struggling to balance the necessity for violence with a will to do good. It does not seem like the man that I knew. Then again, I never thought that these bloody hands could be mine either.